Well, hello, and welcome to episode 4 of Another in the Fire. At the end of the last episode, we introduced something called low anthropology. And so we're going to be talking about that in this episode. But before we get into the nuts and bolts of what we're talking about, we titled this episode, Why People Drive You Crazy.
And we know they do.
People drive people crazy. I mean, we drive each other crazy. Our kids drive us crazy. Family drives us crazy. People we know drive us crazy. And I'm sure I drive people crazy. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is that, well, we're all human.
Yeah.
And that means that we're all going to drive each other crazy. We really will. And we kind of learned this early on when we first got into ministry, especially youth ministry.
Yeah, we worked really closely with teenagers. And when you're walking through life with anybody, situations will come up and you'll be asked for advice or you'll ask for advice. And it seemed like so many times we would share what we thought was really insightful wisdom with teenagers, and they would do the exact opposite of what we said.
We'd say, if you just do this, it's all going to be fine.
Yeah.
And what did they do? Well, of course, not what we told them, and then it wasn't fine.
Yeah.
And it really led to a lot of frustration. I mean, we really got frustrated, and we really were heartbroken, and we took it really hard.
Yeah.
And looking back on it, what we were taking hard was the fact that humans were being human.
Yeah.
And as we've grown in ministry, we've seen this not to be true just of teenagers, but of everybody.
Adults are just grown-up teenagers anyway.
Yeah, that's right. We still all have these tendencies because we're all human. And a few years ago, we got introduced to this word, low anthropology. And we'll talk more about what that means, but it comes from a book written by David Zahl, which we highly recommend. I would say that book is probably the #1 book I've read that has influenced my relationships with other people.
Oh, for sure.
And how I go about interacting with other people and being able to love other people. So definitely get that, low anthropology. But basically the concept of low anthropology is just simply that we should have a realistic view of human nature. We tend to have an idealistic version view of human nature, and we really need to have a realistic one. And that's what low anthropology is all about. And the reality is that most frustration with people comes from expecting them to be something they're not.
Yeah, even with the teens, like I think back to some of the reasons why we were frustrated or heartbroken, and it was because we unfairly put these expectations on them that we didn't communicate. So we found ourselves wanting more for them or wanting something different or having bigger dreams for them than maybe they had for themselves. And so that led to our own frustration with something that didn't involve us necessarily.
We forgot a critical element when we were dealing with teenagers, that they're human. And so many times, again, as adults, we forget that critical element when we're dealing with other people, that they're human. And in the book, David Zahl gives kind of 3 pillars, he calls it, of low anthropology. And it's simply that people are limited. We all have limitations. People are contradictory. We all say one thing and do another. All of us, me too. And people were all self-centered. At the end of the day, we're all out for ourselves. And at first glance, to everyone listening, I know that may sound cynical. Like, aren't we supposed to be, hopeful and, paint this picture of what life could be? Well, that's not reality. That's an idealistic version. And low anthropology says, let's have a realistic version of human beings. And I know that has helped me personally free myself of the expectations that I feel other people may have on me. And it really has caused us to walk in freedom. because we've embraced this thing called low anthropology. Like, hey, I'm human too.
Yeah.
You're human too. And I think it, even just with us, it makes me love you more because you're human.
Yeah.
I'm human. And we're more gracious with one another when we recognize our humanity. And it improves marriages, relationships with our children, and just being able to minister to other people.
Well, and it'll improve your relationships with the people that you're leading too. When you free them from these expectations and you recognize that they have limitations, they are going to be contradictory,
Right.
and they are self-centered, and being able to admit that you are too is super freeing.
Yeah. I think one of our strengths is that we're very much at peace. We're very much at peace with life in general. And this is one of the reasons why.
Yeah.
It's easy not to be at peace when you have a high anthropology of yourself and other people. But when you embrace a low anthropology, you really learn to be at peace. And I want to share a quote from Charles Spurgeon, one of the greatest preachers of all time, that really embodies low anthropology. He said, "If any man thinks ill of you, do not be angry with him, for you are worse than he thinks you to be." I love that. "If you have your moral portrait painted and it is ugly, be satisfied, for it only needs a few blacker touches and it would still be nearer the truth." But listen,
Amen.
I mean, if anyone thinks ill of you, don't be angry with him, for you are worse than he thinks you to be. He's just basically saying, my goodness, we're all human.
Yeah.
And so when somebody criticizes you, hey, don't get all up in a worry about it, because you're human. And they probably didn't go far enough.
Yeah.
If they would really know the depths of our limitations and self-centeredness and contradictory behavior,
Yeah.
you would go a lot further in criticism. So that's just an example of how low anthropology really frees you to walk in and gives you peace. And like you said, you are able to love and minister to other people, just treat other people with respect and dignity, so much more so. So when we come back, we're going to kind of break and go into the pillars of low anthropology that David Zahl looks at in the book. And hopefully everybody will gain a bigger and better understanding of something that can really, really free you. When we talk about fires and rebuilding, we've lived it.
Reach Church is more than where we serve. It's our family, our story, and proof that God brings beauty from ashes.
If you're looking for a place that's real, where grace is bigger than religion, and where people actually love and care about one another, we'd love to invite you to Reach.
Come as you are, bring your questions, and experience the hope that's rebuilt us from the inside out.
Visit reachchurch.online to plan your visit or listen to past messages. Reach Church, nothing but Jesus.
Welcome back to another In the Fire, episode 4. We're talking about why people drive you crazy. And we presented this concept called low anthropology. And now we want to get into the 3 pillars that the author David Zahl presents. The first one being our limitations. As humans, we all have them. It's easy to recognize them in ourselves, but it's not so easy to see the limitations of others.
Yeah, and let's accept our limitations rather than ignoring them or pretending like they don't exist. Let's accept that people get tired.
Yeah.
I get tired. Other people just get tired. We get overwhelmed as human beings. We forget things. We only have so much capacity to remember things. We all have limitations. And recognizing our own limitations in an honest way, I think, has given us the ability to be more gracious with other people's limitations. For example, we talk about this often. We lead a church, and we're 36 years old. And that's fairly rare to be this young and lead a church. But with that, we have 3 young children, 10, 7, and 3.
Yeah.
And of course, like any other young children, they demand a lot of time.
Yeah.
And as parents, we don't want to miss those sweet, special moments. You only get one shot. You only get one chance.
And our first job is to be their parents.
Right.
Our first responsibility and our primary place of leadership is our children.
And their activities are only increasing.
Yeah.
The demands only increase. And sometimes one of the things we wrestle with is, are we giving our church enough time? Because it feels like we're always pulled in the family stuff, which we love, but we realize that we are really limited in what we can also give. And we give a lot to the church, of course, and we love our people, but it's easy to maybe question, am I giving enough? But understanding low anthropology has freed us from that. Because, hey, we're limited. And that's okay.
And it helps us know that other people are limited as well.
Right.
There's other people with young families. There's other people who are getting older in age, and the limits are endless.
Right.
People's limitations are limitless.
Right.
And so that's just one that we have at our current stage of life. And knowing that about ourselves, it helps us know that we don't know all the limitations of other people as well.
Yeah.
So it helps us get them off the hook in our minds.
And it helps lower the expectations that we place on other people. Well, why can't they do more? Why can't they do this? Why aren't they doing this? Well, they're limited just like we are. And they can probably ask the same thing about us. Why can't they do this? Why aren't they doing this? Low anthropology wipes that off the table. And it says, human beings, we're limited, and let's accept it. Another pillar of low anthropology is that we're all contradictory. We all say one thing and do another. The book, actually, I remember this example. It gives the example that we all know that it's good to eat healthy. Every human being knows this. And a number of years ago, fast food restaurants started putting the calories on the meal.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
But you'd think that would maybe help.
Deter people from ordering the Big Mac.
Right. I'm not going to get that one because it's not good for me. There's the calories. Guess what? It didn't help at all. Because we're all contradictory. We all say, I need to eat healthy. And then the next day we're driving through the drive-through, I'll have a large fry, please. And that's just a little funny microcosm example of that we're all contradictory. We all say one thing and do another.
And I think that goes back to that idealistic mindset. Like, we don't say we want to be healthy and eat healthier because then we know we're just going to not do it. I think in our mind and our heart, we want to be
We really do.
We want to make the healthier choices. But for whatever reason, like, let's just use that example, there's not enough time to cook a home cooked meal, or you're too far away from home on your commute after work.
Because we have limitations.
Or you're exhausted. There's those limitations that come back. It's not trying to be deceptive or, not always. I'm not going to speak to everybody's motives, but even just in this one, I think we want to be healthy, or we want to do more, or we want to, be different than we are, but we just don't, for whatever our limitations are.
Well, you brought up motives, and that's an important point of conversation, because when people are contradictory, we question their motives. But this concept says, like you said, their motives aren't really us. That's not the problem. We have to recognize the fact that it is very possible for somebody to actually want to do something and then do the complete opposite. Maybe it's not about the motive. Maybe it's just about the fact that they're human, and everybody, including me and you, we say one thing and we mean it, but then we do another. I want to share this quote from the book, and it says, "The honest truth is I've gained a lot more compassion and patience for people since I realized that everyone is pretty much insane, myself included.
Welcome to the club. We're all crazy here.
We really are all insane.
Yeah.
Because insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And we all do it. So we're all insane. Goes on to say human beings tend to act in ways that seem obtuse, counterproductive, and just wrong-headed. Once you accept that, you stand a chance of loving them.
Amen to that.
And that's what low anthropology is all about. Yeah. You stand a chance of loving them when you realize we're all human and we all say one thing and do another.
And you'll be able to love them better and more when you realize you are contradictory as well.
Right.
You do it too. And when you think about the times that you are contradicting yourself, you can explain away, well, I didn't mean to not do what I said. If an employee comes to you and they say, you told me you were going to do this and you never did. It's easy to come up with an excuse or to explain away why you didn't do what you said you were going to do. And so recognizing that in you hopefully will create and lead to that compassion for when it's someone else's turn and you're asking that question. Why didn't you get this in on time? Why didn't you meet the standard that I set? Why didn't you do this, that, or the other? Hopefully recognizing that in you will lead to
well,
that compassion.
You said that we all do that. And the reality is, we all say.
Yeah.
And we all don't do the things that we say. And like you beautifully articulated, that's what low anthropology is all about. It's giving grace to other people because we're all contradictory. So when we come back, we're going to go over the last pillar of low anthropology, which is self-centeredness. We'll be right back.
Leadership isn't easy, and it was never meant to be. When the pressure rises, when the weight gets heavy, when the fire feels too hot, you're not alone. Introducing another, In the Fire, a podcast for leaders who are navigating real challenges, real costs, and real moments of breakthrough. Every episode dives into honest conversations about courage, integrity, faith, and the unseen battles leaders face every day. From churches to businesses to teams, even your own home, leadership takes heart. And this podcast is here to strengthen yours. Subscribe today and join the conversation.
Welcome back to another In the Fire, episode 4. We're talking about why people drive you crazy, why they drive us crazy. And we've been talking about this concept, low anthropology. And the third pillar that we want to talk about today is our self-centeredness, something we do not like to admit about ourselves, but we love to point it out in others. Again.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're all out for ourselves. And again, that's just reality. It's not idealistic. It's reality. You could do good things for other people. We all do that.
It's not always malicious.
Sure. But we're all out for ourselves in one way or another. We're all self-centered. And this is evidently true when you're in conflict with somebody else and you believe that you are 100% right. And I don't know, maybe you are, I don't know. But we've been in situations where we're right. I mean, 100% we are right. And that's partly because we're self-centered.
Yeah.
We think that we're right. But where this really comes to fruition and it really becomes evident is the fact that we can be sitting here saying that we're 100% right, and the person we have a conflict with is saying the same exact thing.
Yeah.
I'm 100% right.
Yeah.
And they believe it as much as we believe that we're right.
Yeah.
And that's where conflict really arises and can do a lot of damage because we're all self-centered.
Yeah, and it's hard to, in the moment, if we're in a conflict, I know that we have sat there and had that exact conversation, what you just said. can you believe so-and-so
Yeah.
is sitting in a room somewhere saying the exact same things we are, being just as confident as we are that we're right. And it's so hard to believe.
Yeah. It's hard to believe, but then when you embrace low anthropology, it's not so hard to believe because we're all self-centered. So what is the solution? I mean, it sounds very kind of depressing and no hope, right? We're all out for ourselves. So is that the end? What happens? Well, let me read something from the book. Sin, which we call it sin, it's self-centeredness at the end of the day. It cries out for reconciliation and forgiveness. I often wish there was an easier, less costly way, but it seems that nothing else will do. The only solution and way out of all of our self-centeredness is to forgive one another. And that's not always easy to do.
Yeah, I was talking with somebody the other day, and a friend who wants to, needs to, would love to get to a point where they could reconcile with someone in their life. And she just doesn't see a way through. She doesn't see a way there. And she's like, I don't know how I can forgive this person. And we were talking about it, and I told her that it doesn't have to look like you think it looks in your mind, forgiveness of another person. You don't have to go to them, especially if they haven't asked for your forgiveness, to be able to forgive them. Sometimes you have to just leave it in your heart. You have to be able to forgive another person in your heart, and that's where it ends, because you're really releasing yourself from that burden of continually going back to this grudge or this conflict or this wrongdoing, this hurt that's been done to you. Because chances are, if you're needing to forgive someone, they're probably not thinking there's anything they need to be forgiven for.
When you forgive somebody, the person you really set free is yourself. And that's the beauty of it. Of course, as we talk about a lot, we lead a church. So we believe in Jesus. And the model that Jesus gave for us was, as he was being crucified on the cross, he was saying, Father, forgive them. They know not what they're doing. Those people weren't asking for his forgiveness, but he was offering them forgiveness. And that is the only way out of our human being self-centeredness, is to offer other people forgiveness. And I love what you said. It reminded me of something I heard from another pastor one time. And he was really kind of holding a grudge and obsessing over it. And going back to what we said about conflict, when you're in a situation like that, we know how it can be obsessive in your mind when you're constantly thinking about the situation and how you've been wronged and questioning motives and all of it. And it occupies your mind. And we've all been there. And this pastor, his family has movie night once a week. And he's obsessing over this other person that hurt him. And he stopped himself and he said, wait a minute, so-and-so is not invited to my family movie night.
Yeah, that's good.
And that was so powerful. And the way that you uninvite other people to your family movie night, there's no other way out. It's forgiveness. And like you said, you don't have to come and ask for it and have some big conversation about it. I mean, maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's
and
not.
that might be what you want.
Sure.
But again, we're human. And that just isn't always the case.
And at the end of the day, if you don't want that person at your family movie night, which there are a lot of people I don't want at my family movie night, the way out is just simply forgiveness. And it releases all of that from you, so you can enjoy your family movie night. It's the only way out is forgiveness, and recognizing that, look, we're all self-centered. We're all out for ourselves. But when we free other people from that through forgiveness, once again, we're able to move past and show each other love and grace. And that's what low anthropology is all about. So when we come back, we'll wrap up and get ready for our next episode.
This episode of Another in the Fire, along with the full archive, can be found at anotherinthefire.online, a home base for this podcast created for leaders who need to know they're not alone. At anotherinthefire.online, you'll find honest, faith-rooted conversations about leadership, the highs, the lows, and the messy middle, without the surface-level cliches. Whether you're leading in the spotlight or walking beside someone who is. Another in the Fire points to the God who meets us in the flames and never wastes our pain. Visit anotherinthefire.online to explore episodes, access resources, connect with Tyler or Gwen, and more.
Well, welcome back to Another in the Fire, episode 4, Why People Drive You Crazy. Hopefully we've answered that question.
Yeah.
People drive you crazy, me crazy. I drive other people crazy because we're human.
Yeah.
And that's what low anthropology is really all about. And when we embrace this, we're less shocked by failure. We're less frustrated by inconsistency. And we're quicker to extend grace and forgiveness. So that's the embodiment of what low anthropology is all about. Yeah. It has helped us greatly, both personally and in our leadership. And I hope for everyone listening, it will do the same. So next episode, we're sitting here again. We told a little bit of our story in the first episode, but we're sitting here in our church that was burned down now almost 6 years ago, which is really hard to believe. And with that has really come a lot of struggle with us in our own leadership. I got more and more gray hairs on my sideburns here because of it, I think. But really it's caused us to really wrestle with our own leadership with this whole project.
Yeah, it's been so long. It feels like a really long time, and things look so different now than the way they looked 6 years ago when this happened. And we were talking about the next episode and what it was going to look like. And from a leadership standpoint, I know along the way we have failed people many times. We have let people down a lot. We have said things that haven't come true. And it hasn't come from a place of deception or trickery or anything like that, or trying to hide anything. It's just been
circumstance,
par for the course. Yeah. And a building project is not something that we signed up for when we talked about leadership here. But it is something that has come in our path. And so dealing with those challenges and learning how to navigate those and still try to lead well and have people have confidence in our leadership has been something that we have wrestled with along the way the last 6 years plus.
Yeah, there's a term out there called the hot seat. And that's how I feel. And the people we lead are so gracious and supportive. Yeah. But I do it, we do it to ourselves. We put ourselves on the hot seat. And probably some people in some way have us on a hot seat. Yeah. It's not imaginative or, we just think that that's it. It really is real. There's a real hot seat. And it's really hard to be in it. And next episode, we're really going to talk about what that feels like. Yeah. So we'll see you next time on Another in the Fire.